I'm gonna record.
Okay.
Okay, now we're recording.
Okay, and I don't have, I was hoping Justin, okay.
Justin, maybe you can just read off those who are here from the participant
Okay, I'm seeing Dawn Fontaine. Are you here? Say aye.
Aye.
Betty Holden.
Here.
Barbara Van Reed.
Here.
Dana Cheyenne Harvey.
Here.
Danielle Morrow.
Here.
Ellie Chesbro.
Here.
And Catherine Anderson.
Here.
I think absent is Nick Sokrat. I see no Nick Sokrat.
Yeah.
I don't think he's here yet. All right. So there we go. That's what I want to see because I don't have it up in front of me. I would like to, it is exactly, according to my watch, 4:03. I'd like to call this meeting to order for the Simon Fairfield Public Library Trustees, October 20. I'm a month behind on my calendar. October 27th, 2020. We have a quorum. Ellie sent out minutes a few days ago. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to read them. Do we have any questions, comments, corrections?
Nothing to add.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes from September.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none. Moving on to the financial report.
What you see on the paper is the account balances as of October 26th, today. First assets, annual appropriations, that's what we have remaining, which is where we would expect to be. Other municipal, Ellie wanted a different category for that weird money that Jean made me aware of that we mentioned at the last meeting, which is actually part of like a capital outlay, which was set aside for planning, design something or another a long time ago, and it's been just kind of floating around and never spent. So it's there, but it can never be spent without approval at town meeting. I asked Jean if I'm keeping a tally, since we're trying to get up to 400,000, if I could include that in the tally, and she said yes. So, I mean, I thought I would throw it in there. So that's what explains that other municipal. Article 10 repairs, that's what we voted on in Article 10 of the town meeting. We've already paid for the, it was, if you look down at income, we got 13,000 from that article, but we've already spent 8,850 getting the mortar fixed on the outside. And then the trustee private accounts right now are at $111,000 with $38.47. And you can see the breakdown underneath there. And then below that, you can see, the income for the year, what we got for our tax appropriation, what we've taken in for donations. Friends of the Library, that's not the Friends of the Library's income. That's what the Friends of the Library has given us to spend. So if it's counted under Friends of the Library income here, that's just to balance out where I have a Friends of the Library expense, because down here we've spent, $1,053.23 on regular programming. and $149.90 on regular services. Things have to balance out. And I'm tracking now, everywhere that we get money. So like in this upcoming fiscal year, like if we take in money from and we use it to spend to pay for summer reading programs from the Cultural Council, I want that included here, just so I can keep track of all of our cash flow, all of our sources, and where it's going.
Right.
Yeah, so it's I've been working towards getting it arranged this way, but like this will show, expenses, Friends of the Library expenses, we did regular program and other services. Other appropriations, 8,850. That was all repairs and maintenance because that was from those, that was the article. Special is what we've paid for out of trustee accounts, which so far this year, the only thing we've spent on is books in print format, Moan historical books, and we've spent down what we received in donations from the Giancola for sci-fi books, and then the rest of the expenses are broken down into personnel, part-time, full-time salaries, and then general expenses, which is just our operational budget. And then circulating materials is further subdivided into books, ebooks, video, and streaming. Equity is just what we started here with.
I have a question down there, just for clarification. The $8,105 under professional and technical consultants, what is that?
That's our CWMR's assessment.
Oh, okay.
That's what we pay to be part of the consortium. That's how the town classifies it. It's you have to use the town codes.
Right. Okay. Very good. Comments?
Does the new organizational schema work for you, Ellie, having this other municipal thing up here to separate it from appropriation?
Yeah, as long as we know somehow, or you could put in parentheses, requires town meeting approval or something like that. Just so we remember in the future, oh, we've got $3,615 that we actually have.
I was going to jump
article.
all over that.
What?
Yeah. All right.
But that's good. I don't want it to be appropriated. So that was well done. Thank you.
You are very welcome.
Okay. Director's report.
Let's see. First, pandemic open schedule. We're still at reduced hours, which is basically just opening an hour later and closing an hour earlier on weekdays and opening an hour later on weekends, because that's our plan as long as our immunocompromised staff isn't reporting for work. The whole hope is that we move towards opening towards getting open fully. But if you've been paying attention to the news, it looks like we might end up going the other direction first before we go.
Yeah. We have
forward.
red zones all around us right now.
We do.
Yeah.
Webster and Points North.
Webster, Webster.
From personal experience, the number of people I know who have had exposure is increasing dramatically. And right now, Deb, our children's librarian is, she's on, mandatory, isolation until November 4th, which puts us down another staff member. And, if that were to happen to another staff member, then that kind of tips us past the breaking point. We would have to reduce further. I'm seeing, other libraries, through the listserv starts to report, like we have to close for 2 weeks due to staff quarantine, or we have to close, for 3 days because, something completely unrelated to COVID, but we're already stretched to our capacity. So,
Right.
If somebody's sick or has a doctor's appointment or something, or God forbid has to go home early, unfortunately that's been me a lot lately. There's just the coverage isn't there.
Mhm.
So I think we're going to be good until November 4th. But don't be surprised if at some point during the winter months, it happens that, because I mean, if one staff person tests positive for COVID, then we would have to close the library for 2 weeks, because
Right.
at that point, every person on staff would have had, first degree, exposure. If somebody in Gail's family were to test positive for COVID, then we would all have second degree exposure, and the recommendation would still be, everyone would need to isolate for 14 days. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But if God forbid something like that were to happen, then it's possible that we would have to alter hours or close for a short-term basis, temporarily and without much notice. And if the state ends up going back a couple phases or something like that, depending on what happens with the winter, then it's all kind of up in the air. But for now, there's no changes in the schedule. It's still what it is. But
So it's pretty clear what you need to do if there were an exposure. So it's just knowing that that's a possibility. We don't need to, you'll know what to do at that time if that happens.
Right.
Okay.
I'm surprised to see Dudley is just totally closed. Interesting.
Yeah, that's up on other, because I checked around for the browsing status of neighboring libraries.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally closed. I mean, now this is going to be going on a year, if they're staying closed
Crazy.
all this time.
Yeah, Auburn. Most of the libraries around us are, open to some degree. The exceptions are Auburn, Millbury, Oxford, Grafton, Dudley. Yeah, those are the exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Minden is pretty strict about, you've got to be a Minden patron, and you have to schedule an appointment during a specific hours.
Oh, wow.
But
Wow. Yikes.
again, I think that we were one of the first libraries to open, and I think a lot of it was just kind of one of those, we happen to be. This is a situation where our building has actually been a blessing, because just the way we're arranged. Our collections are all on one floor. Our occupancy is small. I mean, it's easy for us to track whether there are 6 patrons in the building or not. We don't have to have an extra staff person to do
Just
that.
counting.
Our search desk is right here at the front door, so we have line of sight. It's it just worked for us.
Right.
Okay. Looking at circulation.
It's
I
getting
think that's
better.
good.
We're
looking
inching
from last-
closer to last year's numbers.
Right. Yeah.
I'm impressed with those
Bobby-
numbers.
Digital loans
Yeah.
weren't nearly where I would have expected them to be
Mm.
in September.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised at that
And-
too.
And I don't know if it was just because of the whammy of school starting and everyone was busy or whatnot, but I mean, we're already set to blow way past that for October. So it just September didn't see a lot of ebook use, and it was an anomaly.
Yeah. I think we're doing good. We're doing really well. Thanks to our fearless leadership.
Mhm.
Yeah, the
Nice.
fearless leadership of Gail.
Right. Oh, yes. She runs a tight ship. Okay. Moving on to old business and our favorite building projects.
Yes. I can give a summary on that, Justin,
Subcommittee.
if you
Okay.
want. So as far as I know, we are going to have a building subcommittee meeting on November, was it the 2nd? Sorry. We're still waiting for one person to get back to us, but I'm pretty sure that we'll have a meeting. So
And that's at 4:30, right, John?
that's where I have it. But I'll send an email tomorrow. I'm just trying to give a little wiggle room. I'm not sure why it's taking so long to get an answer. So, which brings me sort of to the theme of the whole subcommittee. Again, it was supposed to like move things along where we could talk independently. Now we've got to set up a meeting with 6 people. I guess we need to put an agenda together and we'll do it virtual, but at the same time, it's kind of slowing things down a little bit in my mind. But the building and facilities folks, basically their message was, we're here to help you, but you haven't communicated with us and we want to hear what's going on. And they still are pushing for some sort of architect involvement, where they want to do, I would sort of call it like a preliminary stage, not like an RFP per se, but something where we define the scope of work and get an estimate on what it would cost to do that. It doesn't need to be a bid. It's just following good business practices. So we can, give the heads up to a couple of the architects that we knew. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But I'll let Justin maybe take over from here because it does seem a little bit like we're so far off from funding, but at the same time, it gives us the possibility to, to work towards a number if we were to do that. The cost they estimated was a few thousand to do something like this. It wasn't like, putting together multiple tens of $1,000 plans, but I think everybody's committed to doing the building project on, with the trustees as well as the town and the people on the BFCC. But at the same time, no one feels it's a good time to fundraise. And, we're quite a bit off on that. So, what are our best next steps? And Justin has talked to Matt. So maybe Justin, you want to fill in that part of things.
Yeah, I've talked to Matt and I sent out some feelers to talk to Bill because I wanted to talk to him too before this meeting, but he's been out and just got back in today. I haven't heard back from him. My impression from attending that BFCC meeting was that they feel like we haven't made any progress because we haven't moved forward with any kind of, planning process or procedure. And, they seemed really concerned that we might not be aware of the state laws and the local bylaws that are pertinent to procurement and, construction. But, I had kind of thought that we were all on the same page, that we wanted to try to raise $400,000 before pulling any triggers on moving forward with planning and design. What they were talking about on Wednesday, I think, was the prospect of hiring an architect to draft out a scope of work which we would probably use when we would go out for an RFP to find an architect to actually take on the project. The reason I wanted to talk to Bill about it was like, is this, would we basically be looking, is this looking for, like our overall project manager, or is this like a scope? Are we basically writing up an RFQ for an OPM? or like, but you know, basically, I think what they wanted is they thought that it would be worthwhile for us to invest what Bill called a nominal amount, what they estimated might be, you know, a few thousand, whatever that means, to doing this because, you know, that way and if we were doing it with an architect who had experience with municipal procurement, they would be able to give us a better ballpark figure of what we would be looking at. I mean, it wouldn't be giving us any designs. It wouldn't be giving us any drawings. It would be just, you know, drafting out a scope of what we're looking to accomplish, you know, what restrictions we have to work within. And basically, you know, like that's what we would be putting out whenever we put out a request for proposals saying, this is what we want to accomplish. So it's something that I think is worth talking to them about it in the subcommittee meeting. I still want to get a little bit more input from Bill, and I want to talk to them about, you know, what it entails. I want to find out whether it's worthwhile pursuing something at this time because, you know, like Don said, we're nowhere near our fundraising goal. And I know that a lot of these documents, whenever it comes to public building construction, they're not actionable if they're more than 1 year old. So I don't want to spend money on something that's not going to be usable.
Right.
That's a good question.
And
More than 1 year.
if the only reason to do this is to get a more accurate quote on the project, I don't think it is a good use of money at all. If they want a more accurate quote on the project, that's something they want. It's not something we have to have.
Okay. Ellie,
Yes.
historically, how many times have we spent money on this very thing? Is this going to be the third time or the fourth?
I don't know. It's quite a bit, and it's throwing good money after bad.
Exactly.
His
He's
point,
saying a
you know,
few
it's
$1,000s.
crazy.
We could be talking about the $10,000 that the Friends auction raised so proudly and people working so hard and donating such great things. We could be talking about just using that to pay somebody to say, well, maybe you could do this or that.
Right, exactly. And as long as we have to vote on this expense, I feel that I'm on the same place that you are, Danielle, that you and I would probably not vote for it at this time. So I would hope that, and Justin, if he could vote, I don't think he'd vote for it at this time either. But, you know,
it would take a lot of persuading to make me recommend this.
I think we were sort of, I don't know if bullied is the word, but like backed into a corner. Like we really should have a meeting and you guys really should do this, where Justin and I were not.
That's happened a few times too. I'd like
well, you know, I get where they're coming from, but they're coming from their own silo. They are the Building and Facilities Construction Committee. It's their job to make sure that all of the, you know, policies and procedures are followed. It's their job to see these projects through the pipeline and to get them to town meeting and, you know, to give the people the opportunity to vote on them or not to vote on them. And I think that that's where a lot of the BFCC people are frustrated, is they feel like they did that work and then it was never taken to town meeting to a vote. In reference to the Charlie Van Hoorhis plans, and they still kind of, you know, have a bad taste about that. But there was no way it would have passed. We know that. Everyone knows that. They should know that.
If I could just interrupt for 1 minute, and I'd like to tap into Betty for a minute. Are you there, Betty?
Yes, I am.
You've been on the board for a very long time. What's your feel about this?
Well, I think right now we're in the middle of this COVID thing and we don't know how things are going or how long we're going to be partially closed down. And I don't think this is a time to be making a plan for the library, especially since if the plan is only good for a year, because it's something that I think we would all want to get together and look at the plans, maybe not online, but discuss the options of what we're going to do. Like, where is the children's room going? What are we changing around before we go doing that right now? I don't know. We could look at the Charlie thing, but I think that we're not ready to put this forth, especially since if we're going to raise the money, we're not there yet, even though I think it's going to take more than $400,000, but we're not close at this point, unless they think they're going to vote in the whole amount at town meeting.
Yeah, and if everyone remembers too, there was a 50-50 grant that was discussed. Someone else may remember what the actual program was, but that would be the sort of thing that we'd hopefully go for. We wouldn't be fundraising for all of it, but
50
maybe
grand,
50.
Dawn, I think what you're talking about, that's through the state?
Yes, it's through the state.
Yeah.
I remember that much.
Yeah.
Maybe the
And
MH
what
Maths
is-
Historical.
It won't cover what we want to do. That
Yeah, we're still
grant,
short for the 50%, definitely. So we're like, I want to say it was the spring, so maybe we're looking at the spring of 2022 or something, and things are hopefully a lot.
But Dawn, I think what you're talking about is the grant that provides funding for these massive libraries. And that's what.
Oh, so
Douglas
is that
had
the
looked-
concern, is that they want something too elaborate?
Right,
The
and Douglas went through
MBLC
that a long
probably.
time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't get your hopes up too high unless they're changing.
Was there not one
There-
that was just to help draft plans? Or am I remembering that wrong?
No, there was
You're
something
thinking
in,
of the
There
Massachusetts
was something for
Office
historical buildings.
on
Yes,
Disability
you're right, Kate. We didn't qualify.
grant, which I tried to apply for 2 years in a row.
say that,
Um,
the name
we
of
didn't
the
get it. And after investigating further, we found out that, most of the projects that they fund are like in, like the between like $2,000 and $10,000. And they will fund one project every year that is big. And furthermore, they will only fund you at your ask. So like, you can't ask for, $200,000, and then they will give you $50,000 if that's what they can grant you. If you ask for more, then you're unlikely to get the grant. So it's like one of those race to the bottom kind of grants. That like if you ask for what you need, you price yourself out. And the grants that they tend to fund are the grants that go to, places that have contributed already a lot to things. I mean, it's not going to be feasible for the big kind of project that we need. However, I hate to even mention the MBLC, given the history with the MBLC and their projects and the board, but they're. We have the small libraries, the last construction grant round they did at this point has been, the last design one was 2013, 14. And, since then, a lot of small libraries have been raising a fuss, and a lot of directors have been making a fuss. So the next time the grant rounds come around, they might not be as stringent. And, and to me, that's another reason, that why, just fundraising, just, chilling out, stepping back, saying, we don't have to be spending money right now. Let's just accumulate money.
Exactly.
And if a grant opportunity comes along, great. If we snag it, then let's dive into some planning. But we may be fundraising when the next MBLC planning and by the time their next planning grant round comes around, because they don't just fund construction, they fund research and planning towards construction. So like if we applied for those grants, then we can apply for those and use them however we wanted, with no intention to apply for their actual construction grant. If they say we need X, Y, and Z, well, you know, we could go our own way with the grants for the planning and say we just want X and Y and not mess with Z, and then end up not building, you know, their $5 million whatever. Or, you know, you know, I was talking to, you know, Matt about it earlier today. I mean, money kind of begets money. The more money you have
Right.
saved up for a project, the more commitment you can indicate, the more donors you're going to be willing to get behind you. And these things kind of tend to snowball. So, I mean, the closer we get to our goals, I mean, the more likely it is, you know, we may find big donors that we can shoot past the goals. So, I mean, like,
Right. And that
I don't
touches
think we're
on-
wasting time. I think that, you know, this
Absolutely.
is a valuable use of time, especially in the middle of a pandemic, because any quotes we get right now are going to be inflated anyway, because construction costs are through the roof because
Ridiculous.
there's sourcing issues for everything. And, you know, trying to, you know, don't want to end up in a situation down the road where we have a quote, but it's not valid anymore. So we end up doing
Right.
something
That's
like
true.
we did right before I became director, where you paid $10,000 just to have a quote updated. That
Right.
was terrible.
Yeah.
And that we
Well,
were
we can-
asked to do from the BFCC committee. You know, so they
Yeah,
were.
they made us do it. We can assure them that we will do the plans that they want when we're ready, but possibly not right now.
Right.
And that we're
that's my
committed
feeling. I
to
totally
raising
agree
as
with
much
that.
money as we can as well. So who's the 6-person people on this group that's going to meet on November 2nd? Dawn.
Sorry, I've got
I'm
dogs barking
sorry.
in the background. So it's the subcommittee on the BFCC's part is Bill Cundiff and Mike Fitzpatrick. And then it was to be Kate and I on the library side. Then, of course, at that time, Justin was out for medical leave. So, of course, he's back in. And then Danielle was also, as the chair, was going to be at the meeting on the 2nd. So if at one point, if the, I guess maybe what we should talk about too, Justin, is if we need the building subcommittee or we, you know, can pause it or whatever. If someone, you know, has a problem with it, maybe we should dissolve it because it's not exactly doing any good. It's more of something that's on hold. And we just go to the BFCC as the library trustees in a year or two or whenever the time is right.
Well, you know what,
I mean, I
Dawn?
think it's
have a
reasonable
thought.
because Mike said he doesn't want his name associated with the subcommittee that's not doing anything, and that's fair. And you know, like the BFCC part of our subcommittee isn't going to, you know, be, you know, a fundraiser. And we had kind of joked, you know, back in November before the pandemic put everything on pause that we should rename the building subcommittee the capital campaign committee. And you know, that's not what they signed up for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Right.
my thought is that Dawn and Kate, are you the only, you are the subcommittee, right?
Yes.
So I say, my thought is to keep that active, but any communication we have with the BFCC or other, with the BOS or whatever it is, that it would be, you would bring your information to the board would decide on what our, you know, our united front is going to be, and that the board would then communicate with whatever other town board or committee we need to do.
I'm
You know what
sorry,
I'm
I'm not sure
saying?
I'm following that. When you say board, do you mean the trustees or which board?
No, I'm saying that the trustees would be like what I'm getting from what you're saying is that the BFCC is looking at it like the
It's an
building
inactive subcommittee.
Right, it's not viable or whatever. So that you and Kate continue your campaign
Expedition.
I'm trying to think of the word, and the word's just gone right out of my head.
Okay.
All I can think of is, I'll think of it when I'm not thinking of it. And that the board
And
votes
what
on
board is the board?
the Board of Library Trustees.
Okay,
would then communicate with whoever, the BFCC, the Board of Selectmen, whoever else, we need to talk with. But I totally agree as far as next week's meeting, that I feel that we identify ourselves, this is what we're doing, and we're not ready to spend that money right now.
Yeah, but so the reality is we'll end up in this same circle, is that, and
Right.
I'm not disagreeing with any of this. I'm just saying that, we as the trustees are generally saying that we want to have some money together. We want to fundraise to be able to have some funds to go towards this building project. And there's really not a lot to be said until that happens. And it just takes time. So it
Right.
seems like what we'll want to convey to the subcommittee, to the subcommittee, is just what I said. And if they, would prefer to dissolve it or somehow make it inactive for a year or more, then to make, to not have extraneous meetings when really nothing is happening other than fundraising.
Right.
Because their part's not needed until there's money, and unless they're going to give us some money, nothing's going to happen.
Right. Yep. My suggestion is we see what we have after next week's meeting, and
And then talk
I
to
would
other
follow
trustees.
on with that.
Okay.
I'd also like to mention that Matt has several times mentioned that he is the expert on municipal procurement. He knows, he's gone to classes and everything like that the state requires him. And since he is the procurement officer for this town, he knows all about that. And he probably has some sort of feel about construction costs, whether they're going to go up or down or whatever,
Yeah.
where, one would hope that it's not next month they're going down, but it might be, it's the best time to plan, or your direction would be for, 2023. That's a perfect year for getting the dough or something like that. But he really does know his procurement stuff. So
yeah, actually, Kate and I met with Matt early on.
He
when
has
we
a
first
really cool book.
formed the subcommittee, and he was very helpful, and he gave a couple examples of some libraries, and he definitely seemed to know some information that we didn't have with it. So
Right. Are we good with that? Have we beaten that horse enough?
I think so.
well,
Okay,
give
let's.
us a report back. We'll put you on the agenda for next month.
Next one.
Sounds good.
Yeah, leave it on the agenda. We'll tell you what happened.
Yeah. And then we can decide, maybe decide next month what we want to do
Okay.
with the subcommittee or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So looking at electrical systems, water damage.
All right, so this goes back to that Article 10, at $13,000 appropriation. The vast majority of it was for a project which is now done. BuildMax finished the repairs on the external flashing and the masonry, which had led to the interior water damage. Adam pointed out that they really went above and beyond, because they quoted out to fix that one side of the building, that one corner. That's what they inspected, initially. Once they got up on the lift, they found stuff all the way around the building. They pretty much did. If I just had to guess with my unexpert opinion, they probably did about 4 times as much as they quoted us for and didn't charge us for it.
Wow.
They did work all the way around the library. They repointing everything from that concrete cornice work up. They seem like really great guys. Anyway, that's done. They did it. They fixed the front steps too. I haven't received an invoice for it yet. Jeff Grenier is hoping to come in and do the electrical work to bring us up into code compliance within the next couple of weeks.
All right.
Sounds good. That's great. Well, it'll be a good source for later, those folks, right?
A good what?
a good source if Build Max did such a good job.
Yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely. That's good. Good to know.
I don't even
Well,
know when they worked on the steps. I mean, the last time the steps got repaired, it was this big to do, and they got blocked off, and we had to like guide people in the back way. And I mean, we just happened to notice one day that
you
the
know what?
steps
The
were
steps
patched up.
look better, and the steps look better now than they have in a long time.
Yeah, I drove by, I think, or either walked by or put, I don't know what happened, but I was going by the library and there were two guys working on the steps. And I think it probably was on a weekend, maybe on a Sunday or something like that. Not on a Sunday.
I don't think it would be, but
Maybe on a Friday. Maybe it was a Friday,
oh, that's great.
but they were just two people working on it.
Mm-hmm. That's Build Max. Is two people.
Great. They've done lots. Awesome.
How do you spell Bill Max?
It's on the screen.
Build dash Max. Build
Oh.
dash MAX. Got highlighted if you can see my highlight.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I really wanted to drive around that lift.
Something would happen. And
It's
you
a boy toy.
Something you needed.
Justin, I have to say that I happened to be driving by when they were up in it, in the bucket or the cherry picker, whatever you want to call it. I did half expect to see you up there with them. Oh my goodness, lights just went out. I think I just lost power.
No, you're still
We
there.
still see you.
No, I'm here, but all our lights just went out.
Okay,
This
well, let's
light
finish
just
quick
burned- Oh,
Hey.
you know what? This is
before you run out of battery.
75 years old. Here I am getting spooky for Halloween. All right, we're moving on. Okay, we're moving on. All right, moving on to the hot water heater.
And I've been reading this lately about tankless point of origin water heaters. Basically, it's like a thing you put underneath your cabinet that wires directly into your faucet. They're pretty cheap, easy to install. You don't need a plumber because you just plug them in. You pipe them in like you would a faucet, and you plug them into a GFCI outlet. One of those would work in the basement because we have an outlet down there, but we don't have an outlet in the public restroom, so it would not work in there. I thought that's something I might mention to Jeff Grenier when he's here doing our electrical work, because that's something that's still included in Article 10, and we have a not to exceed amount, and as long as it's electrical and relevant to our electrical systems, then it could go under that remit. So, I might ask him, while he's in here is, could you, install an electrical outlet in the public restroom since there's not one in there? And that seems kind of, there should be a power outlet, in a room. But if we needed, to vacuum in there or something, you'd have to run an extension cord in there. And anywhere there's a sink, or water, there should be a GFCI outlet. So I think that a case could definitely be made that should be included in our electrical upgrade.
Yes.
And then doesn't this help us too if we have a tankless water heater with potentially with the bathroom design on the remodel?
Well, it basically it would just follow your sink. Wherever you have a sink, you just have your little tankless point of origin. They're tiny things that like basically go in the cabinet underneath your faucet, so that your cold water pipes right to it, and then it heats it up right there at the faucet.
So can you flesh this out a little bit more for next month's meeting, how much they cost and how many you would need? You need one in your bathroom and one downstairs in the
I
meeting room
don't
and,
think I would need one in my bathroom. So, I mean, I think it would just need to be two, one in the basement and one in the public restroom. You know, I think that, you know, since if we could get, you know, the electrical sorted out while Jeff is here for them, then it might be possible, you know, just to communicate with, you know, a Home Depot or a Lowe's or something and ask if we could just get, you know, a donation of a gift card or something and we could use on them.
That'd be great.
It's a preliminary idea. I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm thinking about it. I haven't had the, I haven't, you know, fleshed it out yet. It's just kind of a brain fart.
okay, we'll make it bigger next month.
I'll try to fill up the balloon before.
I'm not gonna say anything. Okay, yeah, that's very interesting. I think that's good. That would work. Would certainly work for the amount of hot water that you need. Yeah.
And I
like
mean,
it.
right now, we don't really even have many people using the restroom. I mean, the public's only in here for 30 minutes at a
Let me
time.
ask you this. Do you have to have hot water in the public bathroom?
Probably.
Have to is a strong word. People complain if you don't, though.
Yeah, I suppose. All right. I like it. So we'll look for more information on that next month. That would be good. All right, other old business.
Sure.
Going on to grants. All right, capital campaign. So see friends later on the agenda. All right. Under other,
we got our annual disbursement for the William R. and Janet A. Carrick Fund from the Greater Worcester Community Foundation. This year it was $925, which brings the balance in the account to $1,237.34. I usually spend this on programming, but it's not happening this year. It is unrestricted. So if the trustees wanted to vote to set this aside for the building campaign fund or just let it sit, then it's just there.
can we do that?
If we can just let it sit, that's good.
Yeah, I think let it sit. Maybe we have to buy those water heaters or something like that.
Yeah.
Let's let it sit for a little while. Because once it
Good
goes
idea.
into the $400,000, it's going to be hard to get it out.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
the Carrick people or the Greater Worcester Community Foundation would just write us a check for $1,200 for the building fund. You know, they might,
Well, no, I mean, it would
it
stay
gets a
where it
little more
is in terms
complicated
of the
then.
account. It would be like the money that we have in our regular donations account. It's like, you know, it's still in the other account. It's just the trustees voted to reserve it until such a time as, you know,
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's good.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And I've got nothing for long range plan.
We're surviving month to month, week to week right now. Things the way they
Long
are.
range plan is don't die.
I like that. All right, let's talk about the friends.
Yeah, we did.
Like-
We had a lot of fun having our auction, and I did this. What the receipts were that we got before the auction. For instance, GBI had donated $1,000, and then what we had gotten in donations. A few people had given donations. They hadn't bid on anything, so they decided to give us a donation. And then today, one of the donations came through PayPal, and I was looking at PayPal to figure out how to get the money to us so that we could put it in the interest-bearing account. And the person who had donated had given us $100, but there was $193.60 in the PayPal account. So that was a bonus. I have no idea, or I can't remember where the 93.60 came from. So anyway, it would be, maybe it was another $100 thing, and those were that's the cost of getting the money from PayPal. So we also, Stripe was how we got money from credit card, people paying with a credit card. And so we've gotten so far a bunch of dough from Stripe, but we've gotten cash and checks to the amount of $2,249 for what we sold at the auction, and in donations, I think. No, yeah. And so the total that we raised, that I see that we raised, and this includes just what we've gotten from the credit cards, what we've gotten from PayPal, and previous checks that we received recently. So it was since the end of August. And that was $10,661.30. So right now, the Friends owe the library building interest-bearing account $8,861.30 that we haven't forked over to them. So it's, I mean, even yesterday we got some money from Stripe, and it was $33.50. So that must have been something that cost $35 at the auction. But so I think, I don't know if that's the total amount or if we'll keep on getting more and more. But I had Unibank print out a statement of everything that we or all the activity on our checking account from October 1st to the present. So
Excellent.
pretty cool.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that this shows the community spirit and the support of the library, both in terms of bidding and in donations. We had incredible donations, or you had incredible donations.
Agreed.
And everyone is excited about it. So my comment is, how do we keep that going? How do we keep that idea of the library funding in people's heads? What else can we do now?
I think Justin was writing articles for the paper, weren't you? And we had suggested, the auction committee had suggested to him that to remind people they still can give to the building account that for handicapped accessibility. So you know, people still
I don't know,
do that. And I mean, Dawn, you were fantastic in everything that you had put online. So that was good. Thank you.
Sure.
And but we're planning on having another auction next year, same time when Oktoberfest would be, if it is going to happen. But we'd start it that Saturday, the first Saturday in October, and run for I don't know, 12 days, is whatever, to the 14th or something, 14th or 15th. So we're planning on doing it again next year. And one of the people, or the president of the Friends, was suggesting, because Donna Metz is she's really busy next September, and so or late September, early October, or something like that. So she just let everybody know that. And so the president of the Friends said, well, maybe we should change the date of the auction. And I haven't responded to Caroline yet, the president of the Friends, but I really like the timing for this auction. And I also, one of the members of the committee, Bettina, said, you know, people are getting, and if school gets back to normal too, people are getting ready for school and they spend a lot of money on their, you know, getting their kids outfitted and booked up and all this other stuff, whatever you do with kids, for getting ready for school. So then you're over that panic. It's before the holiday season, so you still have, you know, so it's sort of a nice in between break, and especially the Oktoberfest idea. You know, we could have everything if everything goes back to normal, then we could have displays at the library and have, you know, bidding through there. It would be nice if we didn't.
I need to step away. I'll be right back.
Okay.
We didn't publicize. I didn't bid on anything, but I did bid on stuff, but I didn't win anything. I'll say it that way.
Ellie, your donation got the highest amount of money. So
Yeah. But you know how much that house goes normally through Airbnb for a week is.
I saw the write-up on it. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine.
That one was perfect, but we just rented it for Christmas week and it was $1,729 that we get for a week. So it's more than $1,500. So that was a real deal. Same with your place down in St. Martin, you know, that was a real deal. And I think that would have gone for more if they didn't have to pay for the plane ride down there and back, you know. But that was.
Well, I'm sorry, but.
Yeah, right.
I can't do that.
That's why our house went in the one on Cape Cod, because it's within driving distance, you know. But yours did really well, I think, Danielle. So that was
that was very generous.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's a lot of things we talked about. I wrote down all these things. I had sent it to Danielle's on the committee, and so she's gotten it before, but it was just after we met on the Saturday after the auction was over, and sort of had just a recap of what we were going to do, and so that's where it all stands now, I guess.
You know, you made a good point too, Ellie, about keeping it around Oktoberfest and people in between spending for school and spending for Christmas. One way to promote it is to say, oh, you can do some early Christmas shopping and avoid the crowds. Bid on one of these wonderful items. How much of your Christmas shopping can you get done?
Yeah.
I bet you could.
The other thing was that if I'd already registered my credit card, or for my credit card with the auction place, and I had a hard time doing it because apparently my address is Hotmail, and the auction place had a hard time accepting my email.
Yeah.
You know, it took them a day to figure it all out, but I just didn't realize, well, gee, I could be saving giving the library more money if I win stuff and just pay with a check or cash, you know, and that's what a lot of people did. I mean, I deposited $1,400 today, you know, from people paying with cash or checks. So there are a lot of different things to go on, but the committee worked really well on it, and Donna Metz and Paul Peterson were just perfect, you know, for what the hard work that they had done. So
yeah.
So Ellie, people were making donations through that auction site, but Justin, people can also make donations through PayPal, right at the library website. I'm just trying to think of a way to encourage people to keep making donations and then reiterate that it's for the library interest-bearing building account, so that maybe that helps, like two things. One, to get money, but also to keep it in people's minds. Like, we are doing, it's a foregone conclusion. We will make this library accessible, and just, when it eventually goes to the town, that we have to convince people to maybe put some town money to it, people are more sort of invested in it.
Yeah.
And
So
maybe-
if you go to the website,
Mhm.
go to Friends. You can support by shopping on Amazon Smile, which I hope everyone does.
I am.
Or you can click on the second button, which is donate to the Friends. I need to fix that. That reads wrong. But anyway, you can donate, and then you can choose to make it for your Friends annual membership or for the Accessibility and Renovation Project.
Of whatever amount.
Yeah.
So maybe, so I was thinking one thing.
Donate to the Friends of the Building Fund via PayPal. I got to fix that.
So I'm just saying two things. Like, one, I can put that on Facebook every now and then, saying, this is the goal and this is what we're doing. Again, it would be helpful to have a number, but that's another whole story.
Yeah.
We can just say we're X percentage along. Maybe something like that is better, and just completely estimate it.
Mhm.
But then I was also thinking, like, maybe, I don't know how you do a QR code. Maybe there's something like that. That's like, people are electronic still, even though there's less people coming in the library. Maybe they're just doing that.
I know
want
what you
to give
mean.
money
Yeah.
to it, and I don't have any cash on me, and I want to, go right to that site. I don't know.
I don't know how you do that. One thing I'm thinking about more, feet on the ground kind of thing is, okay, I know everybody's exhausted from all of the work that was done and still being done on the auction, but doing what Dawn's doing and then saying, I don't know, I'm thinking of something like, if we could put together through donations or whatever, a Sweethearts Weekend, some kind of a thing for, and then have bids on that. Just one thing.
Oh, for Valentine's Day or something? For Valentine's Day?
Yeah, like a weekend getaway at the Cape with, special meals or, something. I don't know, just a thought of some kind of thing to keep it going. Like, here we are at the end of October. We really got people interested in the library. There's a lot of, the community is behind the library and whatever we're trying to do. So try to keep that momentum going with something before a year from now. You know what I'm saying? Just to kind of keep it.
It's sort of like, the auction was nice because there's like a little bit of a theme to it, and it was products, but maybe it's just thinking about like promotions, like what we can.
I know, I have no clue as to how to go about doing that, or a weekend at one of the cabins on the lake.
Yeah, I know, and she never responded to me, so I did write her a note. Same thing with, I never got a response back from the water slides, and they're.
I don't understand that.
But I was just sending emails. I'm not one for Pete. Paul Peterson was really good about just walking in with his overalls on and stuff and saying, well, how would you like to give something to the auction? And that's he did all the businesses downtown, and then Caroline did like the golf stuff, and that was nice, and a few others. She and her husband, for some reason, maybe people had given them gift cards to Home Depot and everywhere else, but she had a whole bunch of gift cards that she wasn't going to use, so she donated them. And that's I don't have that luxury. Nobody gives me anything. I don't give anybody anything, and they don't give me anything. So.
There you go.
So I can give away my house, but I can't, I can't give gift cards and stuff. So that sort of stuff sounds fun. I noticed on Facebook, maybe you saw it, Dawn, that that house up at Loon Mountain, it was a condo up there, and we should make them, wherever they live, make or hope that they would donate too, and it doesn't have to be during ski season. It could be foliage season, or even in the summer, when it's nice
We
to
used to
get
have a
out.
timeshare up at Loon Mountain.
Yeah. Well, you used to.
Beautiful. I used to, but
No more? Well, there's
Maybe.
somebody that's advertising on Dynamic Douglas. They have a condo at Loon. And
okay.
but it's they're trying to market it themselves. So,
Okay.
but that
Interesting.
sort of stuff. So anything like that you come up with. I know Dawn had chatted with me saying, what can I do? And just trying to think of places to solicit auction items from, and that's all we're asking. And also bid, spend your dough at the auction.
Okay.
That's it. From me.
Justin,
Or Justin.
thank you. Ellen. That. I think it's a wonderful experience that we had. Of course, I didn't do
It
any
was
of
a
the
lot
work.
of fun. The friends are talking about an auction next year. I want to try to talk them into doing a book, just a book auction, maybe over the holidays. Not try to, go out to businesses, not try to, get donations and things, but just books. Because
What holiday?
Hmm?
What holiday?
just like over Christmas, New Year's, just over winter. Because like I got weeding, we got weeding we need to do, and we got to get rid of these books.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, I don't know. I don't know. I did maybe it's a bad idea. I don't know.
No, I think we could sort of organize everything. So if people, and we found that going by the author's last name, the P books or the M books or whatever, that didn't work as well. But if we group different authors together, or the same authors together, so all the James Patterson, a group of James Patterson books or something like that.
Yeah. Also, like those bundles by like the author's last name were what were left over after we had already pulled everything out for the good bundles. So like that was kind of the trash that was left over.
Yeah, and that's the way we sort books anyway. We do it by alphabetical by the author's last name, but we don't really have to. I mean that, whatever. But I don't see why we couldn't have an ongoing. It wouldn't be an auction necessarily, just an ongoing sale for the Friends books.
Because we've got the license for the thing for a whole year.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know if you were here, but I like the idea of paying for stuff in cash or checks. And having things is saying, okay, this box of James Patterson books is $15, and somebody says, I'll buy it, and then it goes away. So you don't have a real auction going on. You just have a sale going on.
Could you have them like in the library, like a table in the library or a space in the library so people can come in and
No,
look?
you just we would have it listed like it was on the auction. We would just list the books available. That we have a bunch of Roald Dahl books. Those really went $48 for some children's paperbacks. It was just amazing. But that type of thing just takes a lot of sorting. You have to go in and sort. And that was straining the staff, and that's something that the Friends should be doing. and, I know Caroline will help me do it and, just going in and figuring that part out.
I like
but-
that idea. That idea, the book bundles by author.
Yeah,
You could just put one author out in the foyer, and the people coming in and out could buy it. And then when that was gone, you just put one other author there and let the traffic just buy it till it's gone.
yeah, that's
No
true.
big book sale,
Yeah.
just
That's
one at a
that I was
time.
Having the people who walk in and say, oh, hey, I'll spend $10 or $15 to buy this group of books.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, well, I'll talk to Caroline about that. Anybody else wants to help sort, we'll figure it out.
Well, let me know.
Okay,
And maybe I can help. I got some stuff going on here now, but as long as I know ahead of time.
okay.
Great. Okay. Kristen, are we moving on?
Wait a minute.
Who's whispering?
What?
Who's whispering?
Somebody was whispering. I heard it.
Justin, are we ready to move on? Are we?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm good. Thank you, friends.
Welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much. So now I'm missing the agenda. I don't have it in front of me, so I think
Other.
Oh, sorry. I can bring it back.
we're almost done.
Yeah,
I'm depending on Justin too much. I guess I should have brought it up.
There it is.
All right. All right.
Just new business, next meeting,
New
and adjourn.
business. New business? Hearing none. Our next meeting will be November 20th. Someone's still whispering.
That's not gonna.
Yes, that's the old fashioned way of muting. Okay, our next meeting is Tuesday, November 24th. I'm
now, I know
assuming.
that's right before Thanksgiving, but is anybody doing Thanksgiving this year with a big Thanksgiving?
Something, I don't know what we're gonna do. We have family things going on. I've got my mother-in-law with us now, and we've got a lot of stuff that we're working out, but I want to do something.
Well, no, so, I mean, that's right before Thanksgiving. I usually have over 30 people and I'm having just family, so, I mean, just immediate.
Oh my, yeah, I used to have those big dinners.
Yeah, so we don't have to clean all the silver and stuff like that. But, so that's okay with me, November 24th.
It's
Usually.
okay with me too.
It
I'm
is,
good.
it's fine with you?
It's the day before my daughter's birthday, but I'm okay.
Okay. Kate, are you okay?
Fine with me.
Okay. How about, who else is here?
Betty,
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Barbara,
And
did Barbara
Dana?
say anything?
I said it was okay with me.
All right,
Dana and Dawn.
I'm fine.
Okay.
okay.
Wait, was that the
so-
only vote we had this whole meeting?
What?
Was that a vote?
It is.
When are we gonna have our next meeting? Is that what, that's our only vote? Yeah, we can't wait.
Yes. No, we voted on the minutes.
Oh,
We voted on the minutes from September, so.
Yeah.
All right, so now here's another vote. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, you have to stand up. All right, guys.
bye, everybody.
I am.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.